Now, redefining language has become something of an art form for the left. You see, they commandeer words and they make them mean things that they've actually never meant before. For example, who could have thought that, say, the term woman would mean anything other than an actual woman? Well, maybe Shakespeare was onto all of this when he wrote Romeo and Juliet. He said, "What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet." Well, of course, the lefties, if they weren't trying to cancel the Bard over misogyny and racism claims, they'd probably try to enlist him to their cause today. But while many things may be represented in words other than that which we are used to, those things are still the same. That's as clear as the number of languages at work in the world. However, language in a society is important because it's actually how we communicate with each other. We need to have a common understanding of the meaning of words to do that effectively. And that's why we, meaning us normal people, need a crash course in the newspeak of the left. And that's the subject of tonight's Talking Points memo. And here to help you get through it is my good friend Nicolle Flint. Nicolle, welcome to Bernardi again. I'm going to kick it straight off. Number one, social justice, also known as group entitlements, which is the reframing of political demands as moral imperatives. And it's often used to deny rewards to those who follow the law. Has this been your experience too?
Well, Corey, what I think social justice is where the socialists, knowing that they had failed across the globe in their aims to destroy people's lives, decided that they needed to get the marketers in for a bit of a rebrand. So they took equality of outcome, mixed it up with a big dash of political correctness and came up with the tagline social justice. Now, I just want to remind viewers, as I did a few weeks ago, about what Winston Churchill said about socialism, which was its inherent virtue. You know, the only good thing you can say about socialism is that misery is shared equally by all.
Well, I don't want misery in my life. I want joy, and socialism doesn't bring joy. What about this then, Nicolle Flint? Accountability. I'm saying it's the use of institutional and social power to force compliance, also known as bullying and mob rule. Surely we're seeing a bit of accountability, which means bullying and mob rule in contemporary society, aren't we?
Look, absolutely, Corey. This is when the lefties, when they use the term accountability, I want viewers just to think blanket blame. So they can't be bothered mounting a counter-argument. They can't be bothered criticising a policy and putting up an alternative. They just want to say the government must be accountable for this decision, or we're demanding accountability from an individual or the government. It's what I call instead blanket blame.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They will not take personal responsibility for it. What about this? Hate speech. Now, of course, that is now an expression of opinion that the accuser finds objectionable, usually because it reflects political difference. It's often claimed as a societal danger to justify censorship. And those demands always come from the left, don't they, Nicolle?
They sure do, Corey. This is the left's favourite silencing mechanism. That is, when they're losing an argument, when they can't be bothered mounting an argument, when they disagree with what you're saying, they will just say, that's hate speech. And it's hard to come back from there because all of a sudden they've put you in a box saying that you're a hateful person saying terrible things. And it is, again, because they can't be bothered mounting an argument to put a counter perspective on what you're putting to them.
Yeah, that's the modus operandi. They level slurs that's hard to come back from, and you've got to understand just why they do it. One of the slurs they throw at you, of course, is racist, and that's all about racial justice, but in lefty terms, that actually means racial favouritism, and it's usually achieved by using anti-discrimination laws to actually discriminate. That's my experience with it, and they like to use them widely.
Yes, indeed, Corey. Once upon a time, racial justice would have been seen as making sure every single person, no matter their background, no matter the colour of their skin, had an equal opportunity to achieve and live a good life in our wonderful country. And what I was really, that's what I would like to see it get back to. And we saw the Prime Minister deliver the closing of the gap statement yesterday. And just a classic example of where we do actually need justice and equality of opportunity is the fact that Indigenous kids who are in year 3 are, generally speaking, 2 years behind non-Indigenous kids in their academic achievement. So we're putting $250 million towards trying to fix that up. That's justice.
That's an inconvenient fact. Let's finish on this note. You've mentioned it, equality. Now, when the left say it, it actually means equality of outcomes for all, plus some reparations for a few. So you cannot confuse their equality with equality before the law, or what normal people know as fairness. You've alluded to this, Nicolle. You've summed it up. They want equality of outcomes to spread the misery, don't they?
And this is the true difference between the Liberal Party that I belong to, Corey. You share our values. We believe in equality of opportunity. And the Labor Party, the Socialists, believe in equality of outcome. And as I said at the start, that means shared misery for all.
That's exactly right. Nicolle Flint, thank you very much for joining me from Canberra. Enjoy your weekend and do good work in the Parliament, if that's possible for any of us.
Of course it is. Thank you, Corey.